The galaxy was never safe. For thousands of years, predators had ruled the stars. They moved from planet to planet, world to world, and left nothing but silence behind them. Every species that was weaker had fallen. Some had tried to resist, but their resistance always ended the same way. Burned cities, dead populations, and empty skies. The predators were known as the Krael. They were tall, armored, and merciless. Their hunger was not only for food, but also for control. They believed the galaxy existed for them alone. Every planet was a farm, every living being was a meal, and every star was only another place to conquer. When the Krael spoke in their council, they laughed about their next target. This time, it was Earth. Humans. Another weak species, one of their commanders said. His glowing eyes scanned the star map. They will fall like the others. Their bones will feed our fires. The council agreed. They had crushed hundreds of species before. Why should humans be any different? But something was wrong. From the first scouting mission, things did not follow the usual pattern. The scouts landed near Earth's forests, but their signals went silent within hours. When new teams were sent, the same thing happened. At first, the Krael thought it was a technical failure. But deep inside, some of them felt a strange chill. Predators were used to silence, but this silence was different. One commander stood before the council and growled, "Our scouts vanish. Not one message, not one signal. It is not failure. Something hunts them." The others laughed at him. "Impossible. No species hunts the Krael. We are the hunters of the galaxy." Still, the reports continued. More ships, more troops, and always the same end. Silence. Meanwhile, on Earth, the humans watched. They knew the Krael were coming. The first attacks had already tested Earth's defenses. Villages burned, cities trembled, people hid underground. But instead of surrender, humanity made a choice. They would not scream. They would not cry out for mercy. They would not beg the galaxy for help. They would wait. Human leaders across hidden bunkers spoke in quiet voices. Let them come. Let them think we are weak. Let them believe Earth is easy prey. And when they are close enough, the leader's fist hit the table. We strike back. So, the Earth fell into silence. The cities seemed empty. The forests seemed still. To the Krael, it looked like victory already. But in that silence, something deadly moved. At night, shadows slipped across ruined streets. In the forests, silent eyes watched every step of the alien invaders. In the mountains, hidden bases prepared. Weapons the galaxy had never seen. Humanity was not broken. Humanity was waiting. The Krael, arrogant and blind, walked straight into the trap. One evening, an alien warlord stood at the edge of a burning field. His soldiers marched behind him. He raised his clawed hand and shouted, "This world belongs to the Krael now." But his voice was swallowed by the silence. The air itself felt heavy, like something unseen was listening. His soldiers shifted uneasily, their glowing armor shining in the firelight. They were predators, yet for the first time, they felt like prey. In the darkness, a whisper ran through the humans' secret channels. Wait, not yet. The world seemed to hold its breath. For the Krael, Earth was supposed to be an easy hunt, but the hunt was changing. Their prey was not fleeing. Their prey was not crying. Their prey was not broken. Their prey was watching, and soon the galaxy would learn a truth it had never believed before. Humanity was not food. Humanity was something far worse. The hunters were about to become the hunted. The Krael invasion began at dawn. Their warships cut through the clouds like burning knives. The sky above Earth turned black with fire as fleets of predators descended. Lightning flashed between their engines, and the ground shook as their landing craft slammed into fields, forests, and city ruins. The commanders expected screams. They expected humans to run, to scatter, to beg. But when the armored soldiers marched through the streets, they found nothing. No voices, no movement, no fear, only silence. One warlord sneered, his sharp teeth gleaming. "See, they are too weak. They hide like rats. This world is already ours." But his soldiers were uneasy. The streets of a great city stood abandoned. Skyscrapers were cracked and broken, but strange markings lined their walls, symbols written in red paint. A warning, a trap. The Krael could not understand. Suddenly a soldier at the edge of the group froze. His armor sensors beeped. Something was moving in the shadows. He raised his weapon, scanning the dark corners of a ruined building. Nothing. Only silence. The commander barked at him. "Fool, you see ghosts." The soldier lowered his weapon, but his hands shook, and then, without sound, he was gone, pulled into the shadows. No scream, no trace. The squad roared and fired their plasma rifles into the building. The walls shattered. Fire lit up the street, but when the smoke cleared, there was no body, only silence. One soldier whispered, "They are here." For the first time, the hunters felt the cold breath of fear. In the forests outside the city, another Krael unit moved through the trees. Their glowing eyes cut through the night. They marched like conquerors, arrogant and loud. But in the branches, above, unseen figures watched them, human eyes, calm, sharp, waiting. A branch snapped. The aliens spun around, weapons ready, nothing. Then, attack. From the shadows, humans dropped like ghosts. Knives, traps, and silenced rifles tore through the predators. The Krael fired wildly, their energy blasts ripping trees apart. But every shot missed. Every blast struck only air. The humans vanished again, leaving only bodies behind. The alien commander screamed in fury, "Show yourselves, cowards!" But the forest answered with silence. Far above Earth, inside the Krael flagship, reports filled the command deck. Unit 47, lost. No signals. Unit 12, vanished. No survivors. City patrols, silence. The warlord slammed his fist onto the table. Impossible. They are weak prey. Yet deep inside, even he began to wonder, could humans truly be different? Meanwhile, hidden beneath the mountains of Earth, human leaders watched the invasion unfold. Through secret screens, generals, scientists, and survivors stood together in a vast underground chamber. One general leaned forward. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with fire. "They do not know. They think we are broken. They think we are prey. But every step they take brings them closer to the trap." A young soldier asked, "When do we strike openly?" The general shook his head. "Not yet. Let them feel fear first. Let them wonder where we are. Let them understand what it means to be hunted." The room fell silent, and in that silence, everyone felt the weight of a new truth. Humanity was no longer hiding. Humanity was hunting. Back in the city, the Krael commander gathered his surviving troops. His voice growled like thunder. "Listen to me. I do not care if these humans hide. I do not care if they whisper in shadows. We are the hunters of the galaxy. Nothing can defeat us." His soldiers shouted in agreement, their voices echoing. In the ruins, but just as the last word left their mouths, the sound was broken by a single sharp noise. Crack. A bullet. The commander's second-in-command dropped to the ground, a hole burning through his skull. The soldiers spun in terror, firing. In every direction, plasma lit the night like a storm, but the humans were already gone. Only silence answered. The commander roared, but his voice trembled. For the first time in his long life, he knew what it felt like to be prey. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. From ship to ship, other alien empires watched the invasion and shook their heads. "Earth will fall like the others," they said. But the reports confused them. Krael troops vanish, entire squads lost, no bodies found. Fear crept into their councils. If the predators of the galaxy could fall, then what kind of species were the humans? Night fell on Earth. Fires burned. In the distance, The Krael still controlled the skies. Their ships still ruled the orbit, but on the ground, in the ruins, in the forests, and in the mountains, the truth was already clear. The hunters had stepped into a world where they were no longer safe, because in the silence humanity was watching. Humanity was planning. Humanity was waiting for the perfect strike, and when the time came, the galaxy would remember this night as the moment the hunt began to turn. The galaxy thought it knew humans. To the alien empires, Earth was only a small world with limited strength, no fleets, no empire, no history of conquering stars, weak, forgettable. But the Krael were learning a secret that the galaxy had ignored. Humans were not like other species. They had been shaped by struggle. On Earth, history was written in wars, survival, and endless adaptation. From deserts to frozen tundras, from jungles to high mountains, humans had learned to fight, to wait, and to endure. Now, in the shadows of their ruined cities, that history was reborn. The Krael called themselves hunters, but soon whispers gave the humans a new name: ghosts. In the ruins of New York, a squad of Krael soldiers moved through the streets. Their armor glowed faintly in the dark, scanning for heat signals. They believed the city was empty. But on the rooftops above, humans waited. Their faces were hidden by masks. Their weapons were silenced. Their eyes were steady. The leader whispered, "Not yet. Let them come closer." The Krael commander raised his claw, signaling his men to spread out. "Search every street. Tear down these buildings if you must. Find the humans." But he did not know the humans had already found him. With a sharp gesture, the ambush began. Explosives, hidden beneath cracked roads, erupted, sending alien soldiers flying. Gunfire burst from the rooftops. Silent shadows dropped from above, striking with knives and close weapons. The Krael screamed and fired blindly into the night. Their energy blasts lit up the ruins, but every shot missed. The humans were everywhere and nowhere. When the smoke cleared, the commander stood alone among the burning rubble. His soldiers were gone. The streets echoed only with silence. He fell to his knees, trembling. His words came in a whisper not meant for anyone else. "What are they?" Across the world, the same story repeated. In forests, humans appeared and vanished like wind. In mountains, entire squads of Krael disappeared without sound. In deserts, trails led nowhere, only to end in ambushes. It was not open war. It was not chaos. It was control. Humans chose when to strike, where to strike, and who to kill. The galaxy's most feared hunters were being stalked by something they could not see. Inside a hidden base beneath the Andes Mountains, human leaders watched the reports with cold determination. A young officer spoke, his voice tight with excitement. "The Krael are breaking. Their soldiers fear the night. They will not even step into forests without full armies now." The general nodded. His eyes were calm, steady. "Good. Fear is the first weapon. Let them choke on it before we strike." Harder. A scientist leaned forward, adjusting screens that displayed alien patterns. They think with arrogance. They always rush forward, expecting surrender, but now they must slow down. Every moment they hesitate, we prepare more traps. The general raised his voice. "Remember, we are not fighting for victory alone. We are fighting for survival. If we fail, the Krael will devour us, as they devoured every other species. But if we succeed," his voice grew sharper, "the galaxy will know Earth as the place where predators learned fear." In orbit, Krael commanders grew restless. Their losses were mounting. Troops demanded answers. Whispers of desertion spread among the lower ranks. A captain reported with trembling words, "Sir, our squads refuse to enter human ruins. They call them cursed. They say shadows watch them." The warlord slammed his clawed fist against the table. "Cursed! They are prey, weak prey. We will burn every inch of this world." But even as he roared, he could not silence the truth. His hunters were terrified. They had never faced an enemy that could vanish like smoke, strike like lightning, and leave nothing behind but silence. That night, on the battlefield near a ruined European city, the Krael discovered something new: messages left by humans. Painted on the walls in red were simple words: "We are watching, we are hunting you." The Krael stared at the writing, their armored bodies trembling. It was madness. Prey did not write messages. Prey did not threaten. Prey did not hunt. But humans were not prey. They were ghosts. The galaxy beyond Earth began to hear rumors. Traders whispered of Krael soldiers vanishing, of entire armies falling into silence, of human survivors moving like shadows across their ruined world. The alien empires laughed at first. Stories, lies, nothing more. But deep down they wondered, could it be true? Could the galaxy's most feared predators be losing to humans? And if the stories were true, then something terrifying was happening. The balance of power in the galaxy was changing. Back in the ruins, under the cold moonlight, a small group of human fighters gathered on a rooftop. They looked out across the burning city, their silhouettes sharp against the smoke. One soldier whispered, "Do you think the Krael fear us yet?" The leader answered, his voice quiet but filled with iron. "Not enough. But they will. Soon they will know the terror they gave to others. We will return it to them tenfold." He raised his rifle, his eyes fixed on the enemy camp glowing in the distance. "For every species they destroyed, we strike. For every world they burned, we burn them back. We are no longer prey. We are the hunters now." The fighters nodded in silence, and then, like ghosts, they vanished into the night. The galaxy was about to witness something it had never seen before. A species once ignored, once dismissed, once hunted, was becoming the greatest hunter of them all, and the Krael had only begun to understand the nightmare they had unleashed. The Krael were losing control. At first, they thought Earth would be another simple conquest, but weeks had passed, and their fleets had no victory to show. Entire squads disappeared in ruins. Patrols were ambushed in forests. Armored warlords returned to their ships trembling, their voices shaking with stories of shadows that killed without sound. The hunters of the galaxy were starting to feel hunted themselves. In the orbit above Earth, the Krael High Command gathered in their massive warship, the Dread Fang. The chamber glowed red with firelight as the warlords argued. "This war is cursed," one shouted, slamming his claws on the table. "Our soldiers refuse to enter human cities. They whisper of ghosts." Another snarled back. "They are not ghosts. They are clever prey, but prey cannot win. We must burn them from the skies, erase every trace of their world." The Supreme Commander, a hulking beast named Zaroth, raised his hand for silence. His voice rumbled through the chamber. "Enough! Humans are not strong. They are not warriors, yet they resist us. That means one thing: they hide power we have not seen. Find it, break it, and show the galaxy we remain the only hunters." But deep in Zaroth's chest, even he felt unease. On the ground, humanity's strikes grew bolder. In Asia, Krael supply convoys were ambushed in deserts. The aliens left their armored vehicles behind, burned to ash by explosives buried under sand. In Europe, entire platoons vanished into old underground tunnels. Human fighters moved like shadows, leading them into traps, sealing exits, and leaving. No survivors. In Africa, Krael war beasts were poisoned. At dawn, their huge armored bodies lay lifeless near rivers, their own roars silenced forever. Everywhere whispers spread. The prey had turned the hunt. Inside a hidden human command base, deep below the Rocky Mountains, generals studied glowing maps of Earth. Red dots marked alien positions. One by one, those dots flickered and disappeared as humans struck. General Malik, his voice calm but sharp, addressed the room. "We cannot fight their fleets in the skies. We cannot match their numbers, but we do not need to. Every soldier they lose, every ship they abandon, spreads fear. Fear is our greatest weapon." A young officer asked, "When will we strike beyond Earth? When do we take the fight to them?" Malik leaned forward, his eyes burning with determination. "When they are weak enough to bleed, soon." Meanwhile, alien reports reached other corners of the galaxy. From smugglers, from spies, from broken transmissions, news spread. The Krael are not winning. Humans fight like no species before. They are hunters. At first, the galaxy laughed. Impossible. The Krael were undefeated for thousands of years. But as more stories came, laughter turned to whispers, and whispers turned to fear. If the Krael could fall, who was safe? On Earth, one night changed everything. A massive Krael garrison was stationed in the ruins of Paris. Hundreds of armored troops filled the city, guarded by war machines, patrols, and air support. They believed no human would dare approach. But humans did not attack with armies. They attacked with silence. Explosives hidden in sewers ripped open the streets. Gunfire rained from rooftops. Traps buried in rubble crushed alien machines. And from the shadows, human fighters appeared, their faces painted black, their movements silent as death. The battle lasted only minutes. When the fire cleared, the once mighty garrison was gone. The Krael had been erased from Paris in a single night. From the Dread Fang, Commander Zaroth roared in rage when the report came. "How can a species without fleets, without empire, destroy us?" No one answered. His warlords stared in silence. For the first time in their history, the Krael faced something they could not understand: fear. The humans, hidden in their mountain base, listened to intercepted transmissions of alien panic. A soldier laughed bitterly. "They finally know how it feels." General Malik raised his hand. "Do not laugh. Do not celebrate. This is only the beginning. For every species they destroyed, for every world they burned, we carry their vengeance. The Krael believe they are the hunters of the galaxy. But soon, the galaxy will see the truth." His voice dropped into a whisper, but every ear in the chamber caught it. "We are the hunters now." The turning of the hunt had begun. The Krael still ruled the skies, but on the ground their power was crumbling. Their soldiers no longer marched with pride. They looked over their shoulders, waiting for the shadows to strike. They spoke in hushed voices, terrified of the dark. Humanity had shown them something no species ever had, prey that could fight back. And now Earth was no longer silent. Earth was a trap. Earth was the beginning of something greater, because the humans were no longer defending their world alone. They were preparing to strike back at the galaxy itself. The Krael had ruled as hunters for ages. They crushed planets. They broke empires. They devoured entire species. No one had ever struck back. No one had ever dared. Until now, humanity had learned their ways. In silence, in shadows, on ruined Earth, humans had grown from prey into predators. The Krael were bleeding. Their soldiers trembled at night. Their fleets still circled Earth, but their confidence was gone. And then something happened the galaxy never expected. Humans stopped waiting. It began with whispers of raids beyond Earth. The Krael colony of Vorsk. Alarms rang in the night. Explosions tore through their barracks. Soldiers rushed out, weapons ready, but there were no attackers, only smoke, shadows, and sudden gunfire from rooftops. By dawn, the colony was silent. Every Krael soldier was dead. On another world, Arthon, Prime, Krael supply depots burned. War beasts broke free from their cages, poisoned and enraged. Their howls echoed across the sky as human fighters slipped away, leaving only fire and ruin. Reports flooded the Krael War Council. Unknown attackers, fast, silent, unseen. They move like ghosts. They strike, then vanish. At First, the Krael thought it was rebellion, but then they realized the truth. Humans had left Earth. In the hidden mountain base, General Malik stood before his people. His voice was firm, steady, and heavy with fire. For too long, the Krael hunted the galaxy. They thought we were weak. They thought we would die quietly. But now the galaxy will learn. Humans do not run. We fight. We endure. And now we hunt. The soldiers around him nodded, their faces set with steel. They had lost homes, families, entire cities, but their spirits had not broken. Now they carried the weight of vengeance, not only for Earth, but for every species the Krael had destroyed. The reversals came quickly. On Krael mining worlds, workers vanished. Their machines were left burning, their tunnels filled with explosions. On Krael-controlled moons, communication towers were destroyed in a single night. Messages of fear spread faster than signals. Even in the deep black of space, Krael ships were ambushed. Entire patrol fleets went silent, found drifting later with every crew member gone. The hunters were being hunted across their own empire. Commander Zaroth of the Krael roared at his council. His massive claws cut into the war table. This cannot be. How can one world defy us? How can one species strike across the stars? But no one answered. His warlords, once proud and fierce, kept their heads low. None dared to speak the fear that burned in their minds. The humans were winning. The galaxy beyond watched with wide eyes. For ages they had lived in fear of the Krael. They had bowed, surrendered, or died. But now a new story spread like wildfire. Across the stars, the Krael are losing. Humans fight back. Humans hunt the hunters. Whispers turned into hope. Some species, long enslaved by the Krael, rose in quiet rebellion. If humans could fight, maybe they could too. On Earth, deep in the forests, a small group of human fighters prepared for their next mission. Their leader, a scarred woman named Captain Reyes, spoke as she loaded her weapon. Tonight we strike their outpost in orbit. We move like shadows. We cut their throats before they wake. Remember this. Every step we take is not just for Earth. It is for every world they destroyed. We are their reckoning, the team nodded. In their eyes there was no fear, only fire. That night, high above Earth, a Krael orbital station fell silent. Security feeds showed nothing but shadows moving in corridors. Guards vanished from their posts. Explosions lit the station one by one until it broke apart, falling in flames toward the planet below. The humans were no longer defending. They were striking. The great reversal was complete. The Krael had once marched across galaxies with pride. Now they retreated, confused and afraid. They abandoned colonies. They pulled fleets back to defend their own homeworlds. But the humans did not stop. From one world to another they spread like a storm. They did not announce themselves. They did not leave survivors. They only left messages scratched into walls, carved into metal, painted in blood. The hunters have become the hunted. In the council chambers of the Krael homeworld, silence hung heavy. The Supreme Commander stared at the star map. Red marks of human strikes spread like fire across their empire. His voice was low, almost broken. They were supposed to be prey. But the truth was clear now. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was vengeance. Humanity was survival given form, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The great reversal had begun, and it would not stop until the Krael were no more. The galaxy had changed. For ages the Krael ruled as hunters. They devoured species, burned worlds, and left only ashes behind. Their name was terror. Their shadow was endless, but now that shadow was broken because humans had risen. The great reversal had spread across dozens of worlds. Colonies fell, outposts burned, fleets vanished into silence. The Krael, once feared across the stars, were now hunted in their own empire. On planets where their banners once flew proudly, only ruins remained. In the corridors of their warships, silence replaced victory songs. And everywhere, carved into walls, scratched into armor, written in the blood of battle, one message waited for them. We are the hunters now. The final blow came on the Krael homeworld. The skies above burned with fire as alien fleets tried to hold back the storm, but the humans had studied them too well. They moved with precision, slipping through defenses, striking weak points, and vanishing again before the Krael could respond. On the ground, human strike teams landed in silence. They spread across cities built of black stone and iron. Streets that once echoed with predator roars, now filled with whispers of fear. In the council chamber, Supreme Commander Zaroth roared in fury. His voice shook the walls. "No more! I will not bow to prey. I will not surrender." But his warlords were silent. They had no courage left. They had seen too many defeats, too many shadows. Their hunter's pride was gone, and outside, the ghosts of humanity closed in. Captain Reyes led the first strike team through the streets. Her soldiers moved like shadows, their eyes sharp, their weapons steady. She raised her hand, pointing to the glowing tower at the city's heart. That is their command center. Tonight it falls. The team nodded. There was no hesitation, no fear, only fire in their hearts. They moved quickly, cutting through guards, disabling machines, planting charges. Every step echoed with the weight of history. Every heartbeat carried the vengeance of countless worlds destroyed by the Krael. When the explosions ripped through the tower, the entire city shook. Flames rose high into the night sky. Krael's soldiers screamed, running through streets in panic. But there was no safety left. Humans struck from rooftops, from tunnels, from the air. The predators who once thought themselves immortal now fled, like frightened prey. And then the humans' final message played across the galaxy. Screens in every captured outpost lit up. Transmission waves cut through the stars. A single voice, calm and cold, filled the silence. "We are humanity. You hunted every world. You devoured every species. But you will hunt no more. From this day, we are the hunters. Remember this when you see the dark. Remember this when you feel fear, because it means we are near." The voice ended. The silence that followed was heavier than any roar. On Earth, survivors watched the broadcast. In bunkers and hidden shelters, people cheered, cried, and embraced one another. For the first time since the invasion began, hope filled their hearts. General Malik stood before his people. His voice was firm, but his eyes held pride. The galaxy will remember this day. They thought us weak. They thought us prey. But we showed them the truth. Humanity is not food. Humanity is not broken. Humanity is the hunter. Far across the stars, other species listened too. Some who had once bowed to the Krael now raised their heads. Some who had once lived in chains now whispered of freedom. The legend of Earth spread. The story of the prey who turned the hunt. The tale of the ghosts of humanity who walked in silence and struck like thunder. And everywhere one truth grew stronger. The galaxy had a new predator. On the ruins of the Krael homeworld, Captain Reyes and her soldiers stood together, their weapons lowered. The fires burned behind them, painting the night sky red. A soldier asked softly, "Is it over?" Reyes looked at the flames, then at the stars above. Her voice was calm but sharp. "No, this is only the beginning. They will come again. Others will try, but the galaxy now knows we are not weak, we are not prey, and we do not forgive." Her words cut through the silence. The soldiers nodded, their faces hard with resolve. Humanity had survived. Humanity had fought. Humanity had won, and now the galaxy would never forget. From this day, the hunters were no longer the Krael. From this day, the hunters were human.